Good morning, Wilbert T. Sass at the Palace in Omaha. I have a quick message I have, according to the social media platform that this will be on, it shows that I have 34 followers. I've had a lot of people that have sent me requests for follow, and it's not, I haven't replied to some of them. It's not that I don't want followers. That's not the idea. But to me, the purpose of followers is if I can help them in some way. I mean, not just to have them look at what I'm putting up there without them getting any specific personal benefit from it. That's what I consider as the best way to uh, be useful to followers. Okay, so if you're a follower, or even if you're not, and you run across this video that I'm going to share, that this one is on the YT.com. Not why, you know what Y2 to T is, don't you? I don't want to mention their name, but I'm doing it on YT because I don't understand the social media one that I was on a minute ago. It's something different from the last times I've done live on the social media platform, and it's got all the different kinds of things, and I didn't understand it, so I just decided to go over here to my YT live video and then share it over on the social media platform. How's that? Gets the same job done, right? So back to followers and how I personally can benefit them. In my opinion, that's my background experience. I'm a lifelong salesperson, business developer, and I've had a pretty good track record. I've generated millions of dollars in sales for companies, and one of my deals went global wide, and is doing business today all over the world, billions of dollars. I started it years ago in 1972, four, I think it was. It's all verifiable. It's no brag. It's just a matter of history. Okay, I don't. There's no reason to brag. It's just a matter of history. I've owned businesses, some successful and some not so successful. That's the way business is, isn't it? So anyway, but when you do have a success in business, or when you have a failure, you learn things, right? And the longer you're around, the more you learn. If you're alert, and if you're perceptive, and if you're looking at things the right way, positively, never negatively, but positively. Okay, so that's the key element here with my message to you right now, and that is this: on the social media platform that I'm going to share this video on, there's supposedly there's 34 followers. Okay, and like I say, I got more requests for followers. It's not that I don't want them. It's that my business plan is designed to help people, and I'd rather try to help a few before I try to help hundreds. You see what I mean? Because that way, if I help a few, that few then are a testimony, aren't they, to then as many people that want to get in on my program. I'm happy to work with them. Okay, but to begin with, so it doesn't get so unwieldy and out of control. It's manageable. It should be done with a few people. Now, the concept is, do you want to start a business? Now, when you do want to start a business, you've got some options. Not everybody wants to start a business. I don't know why. I've worked for companies for for decades. Okay, but when in my later years, I didn't work for companies. I worked for myself, and I liked it a lot better. It wasn't that I was more successful, or it wasn't that I I was better than the people that I work for, or anything like that. It's just that there's a freedom when you know you're working for yourself instead of somebody else. When you're using your abilities and your experience and your knowledge and your capabilities for yourself rather than somebody else, and the satisfaction that goes with that when you help people who are your customers when you're in business, all right? Because it's all about customers, isn't it? And if you're not helping customers, your business is not going to thrive. If you're just there to make a profit, if you're just interested in money, forget about it. Go somewhere and get a job, or just be a fallout, drop out, sit on the curb and watch life go by. Because the whole purpose, there's only one reason for businesses to be, and that is to provide service and products to customers. That's the whole concept. It isn't to get filthy rich. That's not the reason people should be in business. I know that's what's happened by businesses over the last 50, 60, 70 years. They're not satisfied with success. They want to be everything. And they just keep hammering on their own success and developing ways to increase that success rather than developing a business and being satisfied, being happy in the business that you're running. And I'm not sitting here criticizing people that want to get big, 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 big. That's fine. You want to do that? That's your business. See, that's what's nice about living in America. You have the freedom to do what you want to do as long as you don't break laws. And it's not immoral. I mean, it's just not a good thing to be in business and be immoral, right? So, but getting back to you now. All right. So now everybody's got a job, generally speaking. Most of those 34 that follow me have a job, maybe, mostly. And if you have a job and you want to keep the job, you don't want to go in business for yourself, that's fine, But if you do, here's some quick mistakes that a lot of people make. And the government even encourages you, and that is to go in debt to start a business. That's the craziest thing in the world, going, debt to start. And I say the government encourages it because they got this small business loan, Oh, yeah, small business loan, right. Well, I'll tell you something. When you have a debt, when you start a business, every cost of that business as it operates with customers has to be paid for by the customer. Who pays the expenses of a business but the customer? Okay, so if you have, it's bad enough you got to have a cost of business, you got to pass on to customers, selling products and services to them, and still make a profit. That's bad enough, right? But if you got a debt that you have to repay also, then you have to add that cost onto whatever you're selling, service, products, whatever it is, and you have to pass that through to the customer, don't you? Well, if you don't, then you don't know what you're doing in business, okay? It's that simple. So the thing is, don't go into debt, and I know that runs against the grain because people are in they're in a hurry when they want to get into business. And that's fine. But if you have to get in a hurry by borrowing money to be not in a hurry anymore to get into business, you're just kind of cutting your own throat in terms of being competitive. See, because that's what going in business is all about. If you're not super competitive, if you can't beat the guy that's in the same business you are in your zip code, where there's thousands of customers waiting to be served in that category, they're all buying in that category mostly, okay? And there's thousands of them in every zip code. So if you're not super competitive, if you can't beat the guy or the people or the woman that's in business in that zip code in your same category of business, if you can't beat their price, if you can't figure out how to do that, my advice to you is stay working for somebody else, okay? Because there is a way to do it. It's just that you have to have enough experience, you have to have enough know-how, you have to have enough management ability and so forth. And thank God you've got me here to help you and advise you on that aspect of it. And I don't charge for that, by the way. Business consultative services I provide to people because I'm here for one reason, and that's to help people. And that's the only way to get along in life and be happy is to help other people, okay? And to know that you're doing it yourself, you see. That gives you self-image. That gives you self-respect. That gives you self-integrity. And that's what living is all about, is having those things. If you don't have those things, if you don't know those things, if you can't look inside of your own thinking and see those things in operation within yourself, then you have to learn how to develop those skills in your thinking. It took me many, many years and decades to do it, so it's not easy, but you can do it. It's a matter of whether you think the glass is half full when you look at a glass of water and it's half full, or if you sit there and look at that glass and say, well, that glass is half empty. Now, I know you've heard that before. Let me put it to you so you can really understand it. Do you have to think in terms of being positive, or do you have to think in terms of being negative? You don't have to think either way. You see, you choose to think one way or the other, and there's no double standard. You can't choose to be positive and then be negative sometimes. You can't be negative and then be positive sometimes. Did I say the same thing there? I hope so. Well, you get what I mean anyway. You're either positive or you're negative. Now, unfortunately, and this is not a knock on people. Yeah, it's a matter. Most people are just, look at the glass; it's half empty, and it's not their fault necessarily. It's genetic. You ever stop to ask yourself why people die, or what society or what our thinking is about non-existence, and our thinking about funerals and cemeteries and all that. You see, let me give you a flash. Nobody ever dies. Oh, your biological body dies. It doesn't even die. It just terminates. Okay. But that's not you. That's just a container that your thinking runs around in. Are you with me? You see, books have been written about this. That's not me. I didn't invent this. The thing is, you have to understand that you are what you think. That's who you are. And that never ceases to exist. Never. Now, I'm not talking about, you're not a God, you're not eternal, but everlasting is different from being eternal. Everlasting means you had a beginning and it's not going to end. Whereas eternal says there never was a time when it wasn't there, and there never will be a time when it won't be there, and it's always there in the middle. You get that? See, that's the difference between everlasting and eternal. There's only one eternal existence. And there are lots and lots and lots of everlasting people. And some of them are going to be everlasting and be just in happiness, total bliss. And some of them are going to be existing and wish that they weren't where they were while they were still existing forever, eternally. Okay. Not eternally, but everlastingly. Okay, so I hope you get all that. I'm talking kind of fast because I don't want to bore you here. I've already been talking 13 minutes. Getting back to starting a business. So if you don't want to start a business, fantastic. Never go near it, because you got to be motivated. You got to want to do it. Secondly, you don't want to borrow money. So forget that part of it. Thirdly, well, then how do I get in business? Well, you got to start thinking in terms of what your value is to your business that can be valuable to customers. And that relates to your experience, your ability, your know-how, and so forth, or you have to be trainable. Why do you think franchises are so successful? They go in and sell people on the idea and take their money and convince them that even though they don't know anything about the business they're going to put them in or they want to get in, they'll take care of it. Don't worry about it, because we got a perfect business plan and it works. Okay, just look at all of our stores. Well, yeah, but it costs you, most of the time you got to be thinking in terms of multiples of tens of thousands and multiples of net worth of hundreds of thousands to buy franchises today. And there's a lot of reason for that. And I could spend a couple hours talking about it, but I won't go into that. And I know how to talk about it because I own 10 of the biggest franchises in the world back in the 70s already, late 60s and 70s. And I found out in a hurry, franchising as a franchisee is not the place to be if you want to be in business for yourself. Trust me. And that's another story. As I say, I'm not trying to brag to you. It's just a matter of history, and anybody that knows me knows the story. So what you have to understand is that there is a way for you to do what you want to do in business and serve customers and make money, probably a lot more than you're making now, okay, without going into debt. And I call it crowdsellingusa.com. It's part of my Drone Association USA uh, business plan that encompasses Drone USA, Drone Projects USA.com. If you look down through the last several posts, updates on my timeline, you'll see various graphics and some comments about that subject. Okay, so now I just want to highlight to you the difference between you've heard of crowdfunding. Well, I call it tin cup funding, because basically what you do now everybody says, whoa, excuse me, look how successful crowdfunding is. Well, I want to tell you something. Crowdfunding is about the biggest, that concept is about the biggest failure that ever came down the pike. Why do I say that? You can always pick out a couple of 3 or 4 situations, and you can promote those as being very successful, and you can say it over and over and over and over till people believe that crowdfunding, look what it's done for this, this, this. But they never tell you about the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and even thousands, because it's free to post your business, crowdfunding business, on these platforms you see on the internet. It doesn't cost you anything. But once you pop up and show your head that you're wanting to go and crowdfund, well, then they troll you. That platform trolls you, and they're looking for the suckers. I'm sorry, they're looking for the people with a few dollars that can buy a featured position on that platform and spend money. See, that's why they're there. You think they're there to help you get into business? You really think that's why they're there? No, they're not there for that reason. Now, they can do anything they want to do, and it's completely legal to do what they're doing. But the point I'm getting to you is that when they say it's free, you can all of a sudden you got to run right over to the mirror and look at yourself in the mirror, and you can say, do you really think there's something free? And then say your name, because there isn't anything free. The only thing that's free, air isn't even free. Okay, digesting your food isn't even free. You might think it is. Unfortunately, most people do. They don't ever think about it, but if they did, they'd say, well, it's free. It doesn't cost me anything to do it. Well, I'm here to tell you, remember I said that biological body that's doing all that's going to terminate? So if that's the case, well, it's using up the resources of that biological body when it does those things, breathe air and digest food, so on and so forth, circulate blood, plasma. And you see, it's using all that up. That's why you grow old, see? And that's why that biological body is going to terminate. There's a point out there in the future that was assigned to you in the terms of number 24-hour days that that biological body is going to operate, and it's going to terminate at that point. There isn't anything going to stop it. Nothing. Now, I know you say, well, what does this got to do with starting a business? Well, I'll tell you what, if you're not well-rounded in your knowledge, you see, again, you better stay if you're not interested. I talked to a fellow on the phone the other night, a couple nights ago. He was interested in doing a project with me. And I explained to him when we started talking that the project is very complex. It takes me a couple of hours to summarize it and explain it and to detail it in a way that proves why it's something that you should think about. Okay. Well, and he didn't say anything when I told him that, but I always warn people up front, or if I don't warn them in that way, I say, how much time, when we start talking, I say, how much time do we have? And if they got something coming up, or if they don't want to listen to a long-winded deal, they usually say, well, I got about, I got a few minutes, or I got a half an hour, I got 15 minutes, whatever it is. unless I've made an appointment ahead of time. A lot of times I try to do that because it takes me a couple of hours to explain it. Now, I'm not making any apologies for that. It's taken me years to put this business plan together, and it is complex down to the iota. If you don't know what that means, I'm sorry. I'm not going to take the time to explain it. But believe me, it's complex. And if you contact me and want to do what I'm encouraging you to do, because it fulfills yourself. If you're wanting to spread your wings, if you're wanting to go into business and you don't want to borrow money to do it, and you have some experience, or you're trainable and your positive attitude is there. And believe me, I've been a salesman all my life. I can talk to somebody for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever, and I can tell you whether this is a positive person or a negative person just by the way they respond to the things that I say to them. And sometimes, they don't understand what I'm doing, but it's called qualifying a person's personality, abilities, and traits. If you're in sales, you know what that's all about. Because and when you're out making cold sales calls, I was a specialist in that field. Cold sales calls, walk in, never seen anybody, shake their hand, tell them who I was and why I was there. And if I couldn't get a sale in the next 30 to 50 minutes and get the money, then I get the hell out of there and go to somebody else. Now, I used to try to sit there for 2 hours and sell them. I found out that was a waste of time, because once they start saying no after the first 3 no's, and you can't turn them around because they've missed about 90% of what you said, the reason why they should buy, then you just, fold your tent, get out, go see somebody else, and let the law of large numbers, law of predictive success, because of law of large numbers, take advantage of you to get a build up a sales ratio that's successful. So many calls, so many sales. That's the way it works. Okay. And now there I digressed again, you see. But so crowdfunding is a situation where you go out with a tin cup and you beg people to borrow, put money into your business, and because they should like what what kind of business you're in. It should titillate their heart. It should be a business that they really think is needed, or some crazy thing like that, or whatever. Maybe it's a terrific idea, but if they're crowdfunding to start it, then it's not as good as an idea as it could be, because it's going to have to sell for more money than it would be able to sell for if they didn't have the debt. All right. And mostly when crowdfunding does get funded to start a business, it's only up to a point, and they still got to get what they call what they call second round financing, or third round. That's another fancy word that means go further in debt. Now, give up part of your company because now you've proven yourself to be a little bit successful. And there's always marketing that has to come into the picture. Now, if you've been listening closely to me, then you understand that it's just not one of those things where you wave your hand and you're successful in business. No, there's a lot of things that are involved, and you have to understand that when you're coming through the front door. See, you got to know where you're going. And speaking of that, My Crowd Selling USA is the way to go. Now, what does that mean? Now, here's a real quick summary. There's 34 people that are following me according to this social platform that this video is going to show on. Okay. Now, 34. Let's say 10 of them want to start a business. All right. Now, 10 of those people. Now, every one of those people got a family, right? So let's say there's and if you're a little bit older person, well, then you've got children and they've got children. All right, so maybe you've got 10 people, but maybe the family ends up being 30 people. It's real easy to get to that number. Now, every one of them people that are in that family, in your family, extended family, they know people, don't they? And those people that they know that are in your extended family, they're all out spending money for the categories of business that you want to get into, aren't they? Yeah, because everybody's a customer. Isn't that right? Sure. All right. Now, if you, the average person, I like to use the number 6. I don't know why, I just do. All right. So now we got 30 Every one of them people knows 6 people. So now we've got 180, and every one of those people know it. Now take 180 times 180 and see how many you got. All right, then when you take that number, then take another times 6, which is the number of people that every one of those people know. And now look at the number you've got. And all those people maybe don't live in the same zip code, okay? But you will be able to service those people by being able to extend outside of the zip code in the business address that you're going to start your business in. And I'll explain all that. That's the way my business plan works. And you'll be able to do it better, faster, quicker, cheaper than anybody else in that category. That's the way my business plan works, okay? And you'll be able to do it with a budget that is provided by the people that got in business, because the benefits of crowd selling to help you get into business is not to help you get into business. It's to help them buy at cost for a lifetime, as long as you operate that business, because you got in business because of them. What do you think they're going to think of that? You see, that's a real value, isn't it? And they don't have to spend any more money to help you than what it's going to cost for you to sell whatever it is you're going to sell in your business. Say you want to open up a pizza store, okay? And let's say the average pizza is going to sell for $12. All right, but a $12 pizza today in the marketplace, where franchise pizza stores have 30% of the market, okay? That means that, and they pay up 50% of the market, and they pay up to, and the people that run those franchise stores, the franchisees, they pay up to 30 to 50% of that $12 in expenses to the franchise, or and 30%. And now with the delivery deal, that's another, you can tack on another 15 to 30%, 15 to 20% because of that. See, it's the customer that pays for all these things. You have the idea that these companies are giving you this delivery without any charge to you. If they say free, they're lying to you. And the government doesn't do anything about it. The FCC is they're if they can get somebody in a corner and charge them with false advertising, they love that. But they don't ever go after the companies that blatantly on TV use the word free like it's going out of style. Free this, free that, do this, do that, get it free. Do this, get it free. Well, there's nothing free, because whatever the cost of it is that they're doing that they say is free, they have to add that on to their cost of doing business. And it's part of their advertising and their marketing. And they have to add that on to the price that they charge to sell whatever it is that they say is free. Did you get all that? You see, you've been sold down the river. You've been sold a bridge, and you live in the desert. Is that a good picture? And so now you're going to be in the pizza business. Now, so you're not going to have that extra $6 that you've got to pay to somebody else. That means, and you can still make a profit at $6. You add on 20% on that, so you can sell for under $8 and offer a good pizza. Nothing wrong with the pizza. And you can sell that pizza to your startup people for $6, because that's going to be your overall cost without your profit. You can sell to them for $6 for life. Now, if they're paying $12 for pizza, and they get an opportunity to let you start up a business so they can buy the rest of the pizzas for $6 the rest of their life, what do you think they're going to do? You think they're going to throw $6 at you? Now you say, well, that ain't very much money, $6 to start a business. Oh, go back to them numbers I was talking about. See, there's 10 of you, and you got a family, and there's six in the family, so that's 60. And then you got every one of them knows 6, so that's 180. and then every one of them knows six. So you take every one of them times six, and that's a figure. And then you take it six times that figure, and those people can buy $6, can put $6 into your business and buy pizza from you for $6 for the rest of their life. Now, why wouldn't they do that? Now, if you want to sit and pick that apart, you better be a good mathematician, because there ain't no way to pick that apart. There's no logic that says that people won't do that if they know about it. And if you're doing the right thing in the right way that I'll teach you, they'll know about it. Trust me. And that's all you need. Now you say, well, if I'm going to sell everybody pizza for my cost, that these people that helped me start the business, how am I going to make any money? Well, let me put it to you like this. I didn't say that that's the only customers you were going to have, did I? You know, there's one thing about people. When they see a business start up and they see a lot of people going there and buying and getting this product, whatever it is, or this service, whatever it is, guess what? They look at where they're buying and they're saying, well, I don't see all them people going over there. I'm going to go over here and try this. Now, when they go through the door, then you don't charge them 12 like everybody else does for that pizza, but you charge them enough so you make, remember that 20% I had built into there? So you're making 20% profit on those new people that come in that didn't help you start the business. And they might find out that somebody else is paying $6, but they really won't care about that, you see, because they're only paying less than $8 for a pizza they've been paying 12 for, even though the help people that are buying that same pizza for $6 that helped you start your business. They don't care about that because they've been paying 12, and you're selling it to them for under 8, and you're making 20% profit. Are you with me? Now, the easiest thing in the world, you can sit there and say, well, if all them people aren't in one zip code, then how am I going to do that when they're over here in these other zip codes? Have you ever heard of start up another store in that zip code, you see? Because what you have to understand is if it works over here, this is the way the franchise deal works. See, the franchise sells the idea that says, well, look, we put these stores in here, and they get real successful, and that's why people buy franchises down the line here, see. And they even worked it out now to where they give you an address, and there's so many people that live in that area before they can legally sell another one to compete with you, see. You see. Now you're not going to do that. You're going to let them. You're going to use my business plan and get people to start businesses over in these other zip codes. And you've got this built-in customer list, remember, that helped you start your business, and some of them live in a different zip code. That's where the customer over there, that any one of those customers can get in on this and start it in another zip code, and they've got a built-in customer list that they can start that business in that area and then sell to people outside of that list, and that's where the new customers come from. And guess what? You get a little percentage, nothing like 30%, like the franchise operators take, okay? But you get a little sliver, you get a little percentage of those new startups that you help start because of your start, because of my plan, Drone Projects USA. And we're talking about pizza stores. Now, I even have a pizza brand called, you ready for this? Pizza Price King. Because it is Pizza Price King. And I also have the concept of Zeroni. Now, if you know anything about the pizza business, you know that the majority of pizzas that are bought today are pepperoni pizzas. So my concept is this: forget about the people that don't buy pepperoni pizzas and they got to have everything piled up on top of everything, and you look at their stomach and you can see why. They want to eat that way and have that stomach. Hey, fantastic. I'm not criticizing them. I'm just giving you facts, and I'm building this picture that if you sell somebody a good pizza and it's a good pepperoni pizza and it's branded Zeroni, and that's so nobody else can sell a Zeroni, and nobody else could for $7.99. Okay. All right. So that's the reason why I got the Zeroni, because that's what most people are buying in terms of pizza. And why mess around and increase your costs and complex menu and everything that's got to be juggled and manipulated during the busy times of the day when you're selling pizza by having this every kind of pizza under the sun that some guy walks up and says, well, I want this and that and the other thing. And oh, by the way, do you have Australian um, uh, uh, turnips I want on my pizza? See, I mean, you're just asking yourself for trouble when you go that route. Okay, and I know that's the golden rule in business today. Boy, you just got to have a selection, or else you're going to get beat competition wise. That's a bunch of malarkey. That's a bunch of baloney. Why gear up to sell one guy out of 400 or 6 out of 200 even, or 50 out of 200, or when you can sell 600 out of 1,000 with zeroni. And that's all you have to worry about. Just keep pizza there and make pizza dough and have a good sauce and use a good brand of and a good quality mozzarella and flash them out the door. See, $7.99. And see, it's not complicated at all. It really isn't. And when people get onto that idea, I mean, after all, what are they doing? They're satisfying hunger, right? I hope that's why they're eating. That's the only reason you want to eat, by the way, is to satisfy hungry. And then only to the point where you don't see, when you overeat, you tax your body to metabolize it and get rid of it. See, and that's got nothing to do with hunger. That just got to do with the fact that you got so much there that needs to be metabolized to get rid of it. See, you tax every organ in the body to get rid of that. But if you just eat to the point where because of your body weight, because of your frame, your structure, body structure, biological body structure, you're carrying a certain amount of weight, and that needs a certain amount of calories. And so you break that up into 3 or 4 or 5 meals a day, snack meals a day, and pizza can be one of them. You just eat one pizza, and you don't even eat the whole pizza at the one time. You cut it in half and eat one half one time, one half. It's all a matter of how you think when you're relating yourself to I want to eat. Thinking is everything. Okay, is how you think about the food you eat. That's what's important. That's what keeps you on a balance with your body frame and your body mass and how old you are and so on and so forth, related to your metabolism. And so you don't get overweight, so you don't have that great big fat belly you're looking at. See, that's because your eat hole is operating in unison with your elbow. You see, your elbow is designed to shove food down your eat hole. That's why you got an elbow. See? But you're not thinking about what you got on the other end of that elbow and your eat hole you're not thinking about metabolizing when you're eating. You're thinking about getting all you can get. That's why you made what you made, if you made it, or you went out and bought what you bought, if you went out and spent money for it. See, everything is thinking. It's up here. It's all this stuff behind this skull, this cap that you got over that organ that holds you where you are, where you live. All right. So look at the graphic right below this video, see, and you'll see what I talk about when I say you want to get in business. Then look at the one below that. And you got some super idea. If you don't know what kind of business you want to go into, I've got some super ideas that are multi-million-dollar deals. Now you say, oh, yeah, how do we know that? Well, you just look at them, and your logic and your common sense will tell you if you're a positive person. Now, if you're a negative person, you'll find everything there is about it that you could pick apart that won't be logical, won't have anything to do with my logic about that business. For example, drone fly acres, drone skyways. See, there's people that will take that and look at it and they'll pick it apart. They'll say, well, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't do that. Negative thinkers, every one of them. But positive thinkers will look at that. They'll say, "Wow, wow, how do I get into that?" Oh, anybody can get into it. It doesn't take any money. I can show you how. It's easy to run because there's nothing to run. The customers do all the work. No, you see, you have to have experience, you have to have knowledge, you have to have background, you have to have positive mental attitude, and you have to know where you're going when you have these things. And you know what? I'm here to help you with all that. Don't let fear rule your life. Don't let gritting through your life and acting like you're just such a fantastically happy person when you're not. Unless you want to be that way. And if you want to be that way, God bless you. You know, I don't have the power to have God bless you, but everybody says God bless you. So why wouldn't I say God bless you? Because you're used to hearing that, aren't you? As Wilbert T. Sass, think about these things. Contact me.